Hi guys, welcome. I'm jumping back on, redoing this again, erase the race. So my name is Alexis. I am a UC warrior, a IBD warrior, a spoonie, a lifestyle management and redesign occupational therapist for chronic illness. And I'm here to spread the message of my one hack to decrease flares and ulcerative colitis. Why am I here on live Facebook? Because I need to spread the word. I need to share the message of my hack. I don't feel like it's fair for me to keep it to myself. And if you're anything like me, you want to decrease your flares, whether it's the intensity, whether it's the frequency, whether it's the duration at which you're experiencing your ulcerative colitis flare or chronic illness flare. That's why I'm here. So, one of the things that I discovered, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis when I was 17 years old, and I've had it ever since, so 14 years. And I've had 5 or 6 flares maybe in that 14-year lifespan, and I'm currently flare-free. I've had some hiccups a couple of times this year due to stress that weren't colitis symptoms, but I can say really confidently that I've been flare-free for at least over 5 years. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but I gotta tell you, my number one hack for staying flare-free or diminishing the incidence of being flare-free is my mindset. And let me tell you a little reason and rationale and facts of scientifically why that is. Our gut has what's called the enteric nervous system. The enteric nervous system is the gut's own nervous system that's responsible for communicating to the brain and back to the gut. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is to cue the brain that we need to go into rest mode for rest and digest. The other piece is to be able to actually be mobile, right? To be able to move and use the digestive system to get food throughout, to be able to distribute nutrition through our bodies, etc. Okay, there's a lot of reasons. But then there's also the component of communication, of neurotransmitters, of hormones, of all the things that of how it's communicated is released into the gut, and it's released back to the brain, and that constant telephone communication, for example, right? So what ends up happening, and I am a warrior of anxiety as well. I've always been an anxious person. I just never knew it until I was 26 years old. I woke up for the first time to knowing that I had anxiety. Is when you're an anxious person. That, and it's not something that it's like you can, you think you can control necessarily, like, oh, I choose to be an anxious person today. No, I mean, there's anxiety provoking factors, right? Whether internal or external. So, in terms of anxiety, that firing is constant, consistent. And people that are prone to a chronic illness, such as colitis, such as Crohn's disease, such as autoimmune diseases in general, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, etc. The anxiety component, the neurotransmitters that are being communicated and signaled, not only can trigger that flare, put you more prone to a flare, or for the first time of diagnosis, right? But it can exacerbate it. It can be persistent because the body is trying to fight. The body is trying to flee. And it's just trying to protect us from something that it thinks it's constantly fighting from and constantly fleeing from. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Unfortunately, there's no one in the comments to tell me if that makes sense, but that's totally fine. I appreciate you guys being here even on a replay. So when we understand the components of what's happening to our bodies, in our guts and going up to the brain and back down to the gut, we're able to recognize that we actually have more control over that system than we think. That it's not just like our body's attacking us and there's nothing we can do. Let's treat it with a pill. And don't get me wrong, many pills save lives when it comes to the body attacking itself. I was on corticosteroids when I first got diagnosed, and I'm sure it saved me, because if I had symptoms persistently with my colitis, maybe I would be here with a colostomy bag, and I'd have to rely on that way of bowels. For people that are comfortable with this. Obviously, the people that are watching this is probably people that are comfortable with that, right? So, so don't get me wrong, medicines can definitely save your life. But I think it's more than that. This one hack has never let me down. And anytime that I've been able to tackle my anxieties, I've been able to decrease my flares. I've been able to decrease the duration at which they occur, the frequency at which they occur. And they're not as severe. Like, I don't feel like they're as intense when I'm continuously practicing mindfulness-based strategies, meditations, ability to be more aware of triggers that cause my anxiety. And they're triggers that you never would have even thought of, I think that's what's important too, is to recognize the open-mindedness to consider that what you think might be your trigger to feeling down or feeling overwhelmed, whether it's, there's some sort of depression or some sort of anxiety going on. And again, this is from my personal experience and also professional experience as an occupational therapist. I'm by no means a psychologist or psychiatrist giving any advice in that realm. That's out of my scope. But I can definitely tell you from my personal experience of living with ulcerative colitis and then lifestyle management strategies I've learned and utilized through my practice and licensed professional in OT, that this stuff works. And it's pretty amazing how powerful our brains are in terms of how we think and how we do. It all starts with mindset. Everything we do with our hands and our bodies start with our mindset. And we are not able to change and shift unless we're persistent and consistent and willing to grow and evolve with that. And that all starts with that mindset. So I'm here just to encourage you to think a little bit outside the box when it comes to your flares, that it's not just to manage them with some pill or some diet. And don't get me wrong, as I said, diet is a huge component. Medicine saves lives. I personally do use diet as another puzzle piece to keeping my flares down. Some people would disagree. They think that some foods don't work for them, and that's totally fine. But again, it's about the consistent, persistent growth and evolution mindset. And that's a hard pill to swallow, no pun. But it's true. It's a little bit of real talk here too. I'm not just wanting to empower people to give them inspiration that there's another way, but I'm also being real with you guys that it was a reality check for me too. And I got diagnosed at 17, but it took me 9 years to realize that. And some people it takes 30 years. Some people they never realize it. I'm here to tell you, maybe this will resonate with you and you're able to actually recognize that now. And that's awesome. My job is done then, as I ramble again. So I want to encourage you to kind of think outside the box and determine, do I feel like an overwhelmed person? Do I feel like paralyzed when it comes to making decisions? Do I feel overwhelmed when I'm interacting with my loved ones or family or people that I just don't want to be around? Am I feeling out of control, like helpless when it comes to my feelings and fears and anxieties? And I just encourage and empower you to really hone in on what might be triggers. And if you're not able to identify the triggers that are in your life, whether it's external or internal to that, don't hesitate to contact me. Go to culinarydelights.me, COLONARY delights.me, and feel free to contact me and say, hey, I'm having trouble with figuring out what my triggers are. And I can help you with that. And then you can figure out, some strategies. So there's a couple strategies that I use to tackle my anxieties and to get me on the right mindset so I can help my gut heal, because I want to tell it and reset it. Like, you no longer have to be in fight mode. You no longer have to be in flight mode. And it takes a long time for that habit to break, but it is doable, guys. It's doable, because I've been flare-free for over 5 years, and it's constant work. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not an overnight fix. but it definitely contributes to more sustained happiness in my life. So, yeah, if you're interested, just to let you know, if you're interested in figuring out triggers, don't hesitate to contact me. But also, if you're looking into some of the avenues that I've used, including mindfulness-based stress reduction, different avenues of like keeping my hands busy, in terms of like, I use coloring books. I use different strategies. Don't hesitate to check out my UC survival kit. I keep my UC survival kit on my website also, but it's also in my Facebook group too. It should be posted in the feed. So you're welcome to check those out if those are helpful to you. As I said, there's not one quick fix, but I definitely got to tell you, this is my number one hack. This is the hack that definitely trumps all the others. And I put this as my priority. And then second comes diet, and third comes exercise. And actually, the exercise also helps the anxiety piece too, because once you release all those endorphins, you feel good. It's pretty amazing. So, all right, guys, well, I'm going to sign off. And thank you so much for watching the replay of this live video. And I hope to catch you soon and we can connect, because I really would love to help you guys through anything that you need in terms of managing your chronic illness, particularly ulcerative colitis, but any chronic illness. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.